Hey everybody, welcome back to VNJ Reviews. We got a fun one for you today, but also an important one that we really need to talk about. This is Vin.
And this is Joe.
So what are we doing on this episode? We're going to be taking a look at what is the next threat for Goku and the existence of the Earth or the universe after this Tournament of Power and after Goku fights Jiren. You're going to want to stick around for this one. Dragon Ball as an anime has always relied on the fact that Goku in particular and others on Earth always have some enemy or some evil or some tournament to overcome. There's always been the next battle, the next fight, the next threat. It's always existed and it's a part of Dragon Ball, and without it, it's like something as big is really missing. From the very start, when Goku had sort of his issues beginning with Emperor Pilaf, and then even sort of his rivalry with Krillin, he was sort of the next, like, what's going to happen with Goku and Krillin, and then going into the tournament, the Red Ribbon Army, Mercenary Tao, and then eventually moving on to bigger things like Piccolo, which becomes a threat to the Earth itself, and then moving on to Dragon Ball Z, and first looking at Raditz coming down and the implications of that, of this Saiyan, from a different planet coming in, and unbelievably powerful. I mean, looking at his power level, like at that time, like 1,000, right?
It was like, that, it was like hundreds.
I mean, it was just crazy to think about it. And then he goes and it's like, oh, there's these other Saiyans that are more powerful than Raditz and Vegeta and Nappa, and they were listening in on what was happening, and now they have a limited amount of time to get ready for this threat. And I remember watching this when I was younger, like, oh my goodness, is he going to get ready for this? Is he going to be able to fight these two new Saiyans who are coming? And obviously they unleashed the Sabermen, and those are like, each of them are as powerful as Raditz was himself. Yeah. And you're like, oh, this is crazy. These little green guys are as powerful as, and that was like at a time when you're watching it, you're like, this is insane. But there's always the next fight. And then of course you go on to Namek, and Frieza's the big enemy, but there's all these other enemies that you're fighting. I mean, Vegeta obviously is there, and he's huge. He's still an enemy at the time, early on with the Namek series. And you have all of Frieza's henchmen that are coming up, and then Frieza himself, and then after that. But, we're not going to go through everything. But it's reality that Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and now Dragon Ball Super has always relied on the next big threat, the next big Earth killer, the next big galaxy killer, universe killer, whatever you want to call it. And even Super has relied on that. From the beginning of the Battle of Gods arc, I mean, Beerus is this guy who's going to destroy Earth. You don't know what's going to happen with him. I mean, obviously, we already had the movie and stuff, but for forgetting the movie, take the movie out of it. Is Beerus going to destroy the Earth? Are they going to take care of this threat? What's going to happen? And then after that, you have all these other things that come up, like
Frieza coming back.
Yeah, Frieza, Golden Frieza.
The new tournament of Universe 6. Obviously with Hit, I mean, all of a sudden we meet Hit, who can stop time, or sort of stop time. Then we have Goku Black come in, where Trunks, we have to go now back to the future. I mean, it just keeps on continuing.
And then you have Zamasu, and then obviously the fusion between Zamasu and Goku Black. I mean, Zamatsu's not a threat. I mean, Zamasu himself is not a threat, but it's like later on that he's a threat. And then obviously that leads us to the Tournament of Power itself.
Yeah, I mean, after they defeat Goku Black, I mean, he wants Zeno to continue on with the tournament that he was promised all the way back during the Universe 6 tournament.
This is a huge threat. This is a huge threat to the entire existence of the universe.
Yeah, nothing has actually threatened the whole universe. Normally it's only Earth. I mean, this is the biggest one of all.
Who are these new guys going to be? How strong are they going to be from the universe? As you hear about this guy who's stronger than a god of destruction, and you see Topo and him fighting Topo early on, like, if you can't beat me, you can't beat this guy. And then during the Tournament of Power, you have all these different people who are rising to crazy different levels. I think of unfortunately Kefla, but she's there, and Anaraza, and you see some people get eliminated from Universe 7. Obviously, we see a bunch of people get eliminated, and we have Topo again, and Jiren, and so there's always a threat. There's always a next big problem. And so what the whole point of all of this is after Goku now has achieved a true Ultra Instinct form, or mastered, or whatever you want to call it, okay? He's basically figured out Ultra Instinct. Going forward now, if he defeats Jiren, which is expected at this point, that he will ultimately defeat Jiren, Universe 7 will obviously survive, and Goku will go forward now with this new form. What is going to be the next big threat? It's got to be huge. It's got to be massive. I mean, because we're already on the Gods of Destruction level right now with Jiren, and actually beyond some of the Gods of Destruction right now. And Goku, in his Ultra Instinct form, is now going to push further than that. And so where does that bring us next? What could possibly be a threat that would be big enough for Dragon Ball to go into next that people are going to be interested in? Because you can't just do a storyline. A storyline is fine for filler episodes or a few episodes here and there. You always have to have, though, a threat looming in the future, and it's got to be a threat that's big enough for Goku in Ultra Instinct to be worried. What is that going to be?
Now, we do have a lot of question marks here about sometimes the other universes. We don't know anything about them, so maybe there's something in one of them that they have to save another universe and they need Goku in order to do that. Or a lot of people with the theories of something's going on with the angels. I mean, the angels are pretty strong, and I don't know if Goku at this point can actually take on angels. They just seem on a whole different level than even Gods of Destructions. So maybe something with there, or maybe even something with Ultra Instinct. It's still limited for Goku, so even though he has this great power, he really still can't use it, so he has to limit that. So it can help him, but there's still other threats out there and if he can't beat them quick enough, he won't be able to use Ultra Instinct on them. So there's still, I think, a few possibilities out there. Maybe even something with Frieza. Maybe Frieza figures out something with Ultra Instinct, and he becomes a new threat for all the universes. Because right now, the Tournament of Power is affecting the whole universe. We've gone on to a universal level here. Things just affecting Earth anymore is not that big of a deal almost at this point. If it's only going to be threatening the Earth, they're going to have to go on a big scale here. They're always going to have to go to a universal level, I almost feel here.
Now, I would agree, and I think maybe the next couple of arcs that they do could focus still on the universes we know about, including Jiren, Universe 11, and then Planet Zadala, maybe with Universe 6, and maybe there's a threat there that's still a universal type threat. Maybe the person that killed Jiren's family, maybe Goku helps Jiren out, I don't know, and somehow they go after that threat, because that threat's bigger than Goku himself. Or maybe, like Joe said, one of the other universes that have very high mortal ratings of them, maybe there's something crazy going on there, and they hear about this guy Goku and maybe Jiren, and somebody over there rises up against them and threaten. I mean, if this is the case, then Zeno has to take a hiatus, because Zeno can't be around anymore, because he could obviously just get rid of the threats immediately. Or something else, maybe something else happens to Zeno, and I don't know, but I could still see them finding people that could rival Goku in the universes we know about. I think that storyline still exists. Maybe there's a rogue God of Destruction that occurs, and Goku is somehow a part of this. Or maybe you have a civil war between the Gods of Destruction. Could you imagine something like that? Like a civil war rises up, and it's like almost like this coup occurs between the Gods of Destruction. I could foresee them still doing many, many arcs with the universes we know about, including the mortals in the universes and the Gods of Destruction. Now, after around 3 or 4 of those arcs, they're gonna have to push it further than just the universes we know about. Maybe there is an opposite side of the universes, or a dark side of the universe, or maybe the universes we know about really aren't all of the universes. Maybe there's a megaverse, and I know that those things exist in other in other places like Marvel and DC, but Dragon Ball is going to have to go that direction. It can't remain as small as just the universes we know about if the threats are going to continue, and the threats are going to have to continue. And I'm talking, we're going 4, 5, 6, 7 arcs away from here, but then there's going to have to be a threat against Xeno. Maybe Xeno isn't everything. Maybe there's more than that. Maybe there are multiple Xenos or multiple universes that guys like Xeno have control over. And that's going much further, but that next big threat always needs to be there. Because if it's not, then you lose the interest. You lose the worry. You lose the threat. And the threat always has to be there. And I can foresee them still doing a few with the universes we know about, and then later on maybe with the God's Destruction, and maybe later on with the Angels possibly, or something going on with Xeno. But it's going to be interesting to see what is that next big threat that's going to come up.
One other direction they could go is they just eliminate Goku from this whole thing, maybe Goku and Vegeta, and they start fresh with some other characters. But that would be a very bad idea. I mean, they definitely tried to do that before with killing Goku and then him in the other universe. And yeah, they had to bring him back because it didn't work out. So, I mean, could they try it? I think so, but I don't think it would work out, and most fans would not be happy not to see Goku anymore. But, I mean, I guess that's the only other possibility that I could think of besides the other ones that we came up with.
I mean, I know a lot of people, have these terms that they throw out, like, oh, you're a Goku fanboy or a Vegeta fanboy or whatever, that people have to throw at each other because that's the way humans are, and they have to hate on each other like that. It's just a natural part of human existence, and whatever, if you're a part of that, then be a part of it if you need to. But the fact of the matter is whether you like one character or another, you can't get rid of a Goku. You can't get rid of a Vegeta anymore. You just can't. I mean, Frieza can go by the wayside. There's no problem with that. But there's a few characters in here who can't go away. And if they do, it kills everything. So, you got to keep going forward with Goku. And I kind of honestly think that you got to keep going forward with Beerus, too. I think Beerus and Whis got to be a part of this thing going forward as well. It would be disappointing if they didn't. I think you need bigger guys than Goku, with some of the bigger things that they're going to face that are going to be threats. Maybe a threat comes up that threatens Beerus, and Goku's got to be a part of helping Beerus out. I mean, that's the kind of stuff we're talking about here. So there is a lot of directions to go in, but it has to be handled well, and there always has to be that next threat. And right now, after Jiren, it's like, who is it? Yeah. Who is it going to be?
It has to make sense. I mean, it better not be like somebody who no, Goku should totally destroy this. If he's facing Jiren, there's no way this guy is this strong and can be doing this. It's like, we want it to make sense. I mean, I hope they can do that all in context.
Yeah, I don't know. And we'll see what it is. And obviously there's a lot of things we want to explore. But I would be okay with it being the evildoer that defeated Jiren's family, and Jiren still hasn't been able to defeat him. Or I would be okay with it being another mortal from one of the other universes, something like that. Or even with something with the Gods of Destruction, because I think that could, but they shouldn't go too big too fast either, because if you go too big too fast, then you limit yourself, because you got to keep going further. You got to be careful to go too far. There's not enough characters for Dragon Ball to, like Joe said, get rid of Goku for a little while and us still be okay with some of the minor characters. You're not going to be okay with the minor characters for too long. So we thought it was interesting to throw it out to you. What's the next big threat going to be? What's the next following arcs going to be like? If you'd like to leave a comment on this, go ahead and do that. Leave one below. Where do you see the next threat coming from? Is it still a mortal threat? Is it a god threat? Is it from the universes we know about or the other universes that we haven't seen yet? So please leave your comment below. There's a lot of interesting directions to go with this one. So we're totally interested in seeing what you guys have to say about it. So please leave a comment. Also, like the video and subscribe if you enjoy the content that you are hearing. We hope you guys enjoyed this one. This is Vin.
And this is Joe.
We will check you guys out next time.